Now, if you want to hang about, I'm going to show you guys, specifically Charles, who was in YouTube chat, but now he's jumped over to Twitch. I'm going to show him some best practices. Yes, some best practices on how to use, how to set up your VoiceAttack properly. So VoiceAttack is the software that I use for voice automation. So for example, I don't know if you can see in desktop. Okay, so like one example is, this is the iRacing beta UI, right? Let me enable my camera. Scene chatting. Not chatting. Scene CM. Alright, we'll get this guy. Copy scene desktop. And I'll paste this one right there. Okay, cool. So if you can see, this is the iRacing beta UI. If I say, actually, let me just quickly check the results. Oh my god, my safety rating's at 1.3. Don't think about it too much. It's alright. It's probably going to drop to a B license, which is, you know, it is what it is. Say iRating's only gone down 16. Okay. So let's say I want to hide this this message up the top here. I can say clear all. And there's another message there, so clear all. Clear all. Okay. Now for the purpose of this exercise, let's actually bring up this guy here. I'm gonna minimize all this stuff. All right. So this is, let's actually do it this way. All right. So this is VoiceAttack, and this program here, what it does is it basically takes my voice and runs various commands, right? So what I recommend, Quaker actually asked me a question in my Discord, and he asked, how do we actually map a command to do something in iRacing? And what I recommend doing is actually create a whole different profile. And in this, so the way it works is you have all these, whoops. With VoiceAttack, you can create many profiles, right? So I've got a profile for Windows commands. I've got a profile for sound effects. And I've got a profile for when I used to play DCS. What I recommend you do is create a separate profile for your iRacing keyboard command. So what you do is you basically come into this section, this button here. You click that and then create a new profile. So click on create a new profile, and I'll do that right now. Okay, so I'll click on this, and as soon as you do that, just take these gloves off. So as soon as you do that, it'll ask you to name the profile. So I would say give it a name like iRacing binds. Okay, iRacing binds, we've got key binds, and that's it. Just so you don't know, just do that. And then what you do is you basically click on this button here, new command. All right. And when you click on that new command, another window will pop up, which is add a command. And here what you do is you call this relative. Wait, what are the different boxes? There's lap, black box. Well, actually, no, what? We'll just call it lap. We'll just call it lap. And what do we want to happen? Oh, whoops, sorry. Sorry about that. Okay. Can you see that? Okay, so what happens is when I say you want this ticked, when I say lap, what do we want to happen when I say lap. So we want to send a key press action. All right, we want to send a key press action, and we basically, right now, it's waiting for us to press a key on the keyboard. So I'm going to press F1. All right, so when I press F1, notice F1's popped up here. Okay. When I press F1, I will send the command, the F1 command, to... So when you tick this box here, send command to target, it will say to the active window or to another window. We don't want to send this command to the active window, because the active window, you might have moved your focus to another app. Could be Crew Chief or something else, but you don't want another app having an F1 key stroke being sent to it. So we want to be explicit and say, I want to send the F1 to iRacing. Actually, no, it's not even here. I reckon for the purpose of this exercise, I'm actually going to run... Yeah. I'm going to jump into a practice session and just have iRacing running in the background, because it's important to do that. We'll just wait for the join thing to happen. And while that's doing that, while iRacing is loading, I'll talk about this a bit more. So this active window will basically, whatever window is currently active, will receive this command. So we'll wait for iRacing to load up. Now, the other thing I recommend doing is creating categories. So in this box just here, just under description, you can add a description if you want. You can say, opens the lap black box. Okay? And then here in the category, just put in black box. This is useful when you have a bunch of different commands in your list, and you can actually categorize them by... you can list them according to the category. Kind of sorts them in a nice, neat order. And we're still waiting for iRacing to load. Yeah, while it's loading, and recognition. All right, there we go. Okay, so iRacing's loaded. I'm going to minimize this, and now you'll notice it has not come up in the list. I'm just going to save this, and I'll come back to it.
New fastest lap for Thomas, 46.92.
All right, so send it to iRacing.com simulator. See, that wasn't there before. iRacing.com simulator. So VoiceAttack has picked up that there's a new app running in the memory. So we click that, iRacing.com simulator. And that's pretty much it. So we can just click OK. Now let me just double check. Okay, so what I'll do is I'll actually jump into... Okay, I'll jump into the thing now.
The track temperature is falling. It's now 27 Celsius.
What?
That's a new fastest lap for...
Go away, Crew Chief. So I'm going to say the word lap, okay? Lap. Whoops. Of course it's going to happen. Let me just... Got to save it. All right, cool. Now let's try that. Lap. There you go. All right. Now that we've done the one command, the rest is actually super easy. We'll just basically go into the editing window again. And we just hit right-click on the lap. Right-click on one of these commands. Okay. And then go to duplicate. All right. So when we duplicate an existing command, it copies, obviously it's a duplicate. And why it's great is because it copies this kind of stuff. The description, the category, the active window, all that kind of stuff, right? So this one, what happens? It's lap standings. Standings. And then what happens when I say standings? We press F2. So it's a good idea to just hit clear that there was a clear button there. I'm going to show you that. So clear. Because we're duplicating, it saved the F1 from the previous command. So we're going to clear that. And then we press F2. Okay, that. And opens up in the description, we'll just say, opens up the standings black box. And the categories black box. Everything else is fine. And we press OK. And we'll do that again for another. We'll duplicate it. So right click on standings, hit duplicate. And then we'll change this to relative. Now, in case you hit right click and duplicate, and if you kind of forgotten, hang on, am I actually editing the original? Because that's happened to me once. I've actually gone in and thinking that I'm editing a duplicate, but I actually ended up editing the original, and so I screwed up some other command and I couldn't even remember what I replaced, what command I actually replaced instead of duplicating. So how you know is the title here where it says duplicate a command. So you know that you're editing a duplicate version of a command. We'll change this to relative. Actually, I'll show you something. I'll click OK here quickly. If you happen to edit an existing command, so not a duplicate, if I just double click on relative right now, it doesn't say duplicate a command, it says edit a command. So if you think you're actually creating a duplicate, but you don't see the word duplicate up in the menu bar here, the toolbar, this bar here, the window bar, then cancel, go back and do the duplicate. But for this, in this instance, when I say relative, I want to clear it, and then I want to press F3. Okay, that. And we'll just edit the description. This will open the relative black box. And everything else is fine exactly as it is. All right, so let's actually test this. So we apply, and I'm going to leave this window open. Now, if I hit done, it will close this window and get out of it altogether. So let's just go, and so we've got lap, relative, standings. Let's test it out. Standings, lap, relative, standings. So let me just see why my voice isn't being picked up. I'm going to hit done here. And if there are any... This VoiceAttack main window gives you a lot of feedback on what is happening when you give a command. So it's like a log. Think of this as a live log of all the things that happen. And I refer to this when I give a command and nothing happens, right? So you can see here in the red, that means there was some sort of an error. Saying here, command cancelled, another command is not allowing others to execute, cancelled by lap. Okay. Another one here, command cancelled, another command is not allowing others to execute. Let's actually go back here. Lap. Standings. Relative. I think I'm giving the commands too quickly. Like it needs a bit of time between commands. It's not like your Google Home or Alexa. I mean, the voice, I really appreciate the accuracy of Google Home's voice detection, because those services actually do, at least for Google Home, it actually does an amazing job of detecting the command in a phrase, whereas VoiceAttack is very, very sensitive. If you have to give a bit of space in terms of a time gap between talking, and then you have to kind of be quiet, say your command, and then give a bit of time gap as well. So if you give commands too quickly, VoiceAttack won't process that. Standings. Relative. Lap. Okay, there you go. So you're not gonna. I mean, in reality, you're not going to give commands that quickly. If you're thinking, I want to see the standings. You know, you're not going to quickly chop and change within 1 second. All right. So what we're going to do now is we're going to improve these commands a little bit. And what we're going to do is we're going to go to lap. And I'm going to enhance this voice command with a press of my button box. Okay. And to show you that, let me actually go to this. And paste. All right, cool. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually map a button. I don't know, one of these buttons. This one here, okay? So in order to map a button, all we do is we put a tick box right here. When I press button, and what happens... Actually, no, before this, we need to do something. We need to go into the settings, okay? The spanner icon. We click on the spanner icon. Wait for a moment, and then it brings up the options or the settings or whatever. What you want to do is you want to go to... is it general? One of these... Advanced? Hotkey... General... Here. Okay, go to General tab, and then go to Joystick Options. Click on Joystick Options. And then once you've clicked on Joystick Options, you see this this window, and it allows you to map up to 4 joysticks or keypad. What do you call it? Joypads or button boxes, whatever. Like 4 controllers. So what you have to do is make sure you click the tick enable joystick. Wow, that's a big mosquito. I'm getting itchy just thinking about it. Tick this enable joystick 1. You can see here that my SimiCube is my joystick 1. It actually detects. Anyway, when you click on enable joystick or whatever that comes up here, it should assign it as 1 automatically. And that's it. That's pretty much it. That's all you have to do. If you have more than 1 joystick, obviously enable as many as you need, but to keep things simple, go for 1 joystick that happens to be a button on your wheel, and another button which happens to be a separate button box like this. All right, so that's important. Otherwise, you won't be able to map. I'll come over here. Just make this a bit smaller. Otherwise, when you go to lap, it actually clicked. When I said lap, it actually did it. Okay, so when you click on this button here, this thing popped up. See this? I'm going to move that there. So now what it's saying is select joystick button that will invoke this command. And what's cool about this is you can actually press more than 1 button. You can assign 1 button, like, hang on, let's clear. I can either press this button here, or I could make a combination, a combo button. I could say if I press and hold this button, press and hold this button down. Okay, let's just clear that. If I press and hold this button down, and then if I press this button, so what that means is I have to press this button down and this button, kind of like it's kind of like pressing shift and a keyboard, a shift and X, for example, I can make this command work only if I press these two buttons together. But if you're not going to do that, okay, we'll just press this button here. Boom. Press OK. And that's it. All right, so how you know now is if you look at this list, you have up here the spoken command, and this is the button. So in this case, we've only mapped one of these commands to a joystick button. And then you've got the description, you've got a category, which is what I said earlier. It's a nice idea to at least enter the category when you have like 20 different commands here. Some of them are related to the black box. Some of them are related to, car setup or whatever. And right here it tells you what the action is. So you can see at a glance, press F1 key to hold for whatever, right? Okay, so let's test this out. Actually, before I go, I'm going to select another button for relative. So when I press this button here, okay, when I press joystick 2 button 19, then relative will work. And I might as well do the standings for the sake of demonstration here. Okay, we're clear. And I'm going to map the third button here. Okay. That's it. So now I can either say the word or I can press the button. All right, so here's what's going to happen. I can say relative, or I can just press these buttons. Uh-oh. No. See? Something is not right. Okay, let's actually... If you keep seeing this message here, this tip, add some more commands so that it can be blah blah blah. I'm just gonna right click, and I don't want to stop seeing. I don't want to see this. Stop showing this message. All right, so that, and I'm gonna clear the log history. Let's clear the log history. Oh, man. Now you're talking. So here's the thing. You could basically combine different commands with one single thing. So let me show you what that means. But it's not as simple as you may think. Specifically because I think it's a good idea to create a different... Okay. So just like we created a profile for iRacing binds, I think it's a good idea to create... You loving this? Cool, man. So just like we created a separate profile called iRacing binds specifically for iRacing keybinds, what you want to do for OBS is create a separate profile for OBS. All right, so here's my OBS profile. See my OBS profile, like it's huge. It's like there's a lot here. There's lots and lots of things, and this is a kind of a slightly more advanced topic. I think it's a good idea for you to get the hang of creating a single profile, because when it comes to creating compound commands, that's what it is. It's a command that contains different commands from different profiles. How you do that is this. Before I jump over, let me show you a command. All right, so I have a command called show. You've done an iRacing profile, cool. All right, now see how I've got a command here called show cam. All right, show cam here, this one here. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this. Okay, there's a reason for that. I'm going to jump back to the iRacing binds profile, and I'm going to go into the options here. So how I got there was, again, I went in, clicked on this edit button, and then can you see how it says options here? So we're about to enter the options for this profile. And under the 1, 2, 3, where it says include commands from another profile. Include commands from another profile. So this is where we can actually execute a command from another profile. So we're going to click on this ellipsis button, click on plus to add. Yeah. And then from here, you can see all your other profiles. If you click on OBS, click OK. And now you have access to all the commands from OBS inside this profile, inside the iRacing profile. And yeah, you basically say OK. And then what I can do is I can create a new command. Okay, so I'm creating a whole new command now. And in this, I'm going to call it, I don't know, this is going to be a demonstration. You're not going to do this for real life, but you'll just call this lap and hide, show cam. Show cam. So what I want is when I say lap, whoops, when I execute this command, it's going to actually do two things. It's going to go to other, go to VoiceAttack action, and oh crap. Let me just delete this guy. We don't want that anymore. Okay. So other, VoiceAttack action, execute another command. Execute another command. And when you do that, this thing pops up. Execute another command. What we want to do is we want to execute this command here, lap. Okay, you can select different commands from the drop-down list, but notice that the commands in this drop-down list only pertain to this profile, the iRacing profile. None of the commands from the OBS profile appear here. And that's very important, which is why I copied the command from the OBS earlier on. You kind of have to remember that. So I'm going to hit select lap, and then I'm going to press OK. And I'm going to add another command. So other, VoiceAttack action, execute another command. And this time, instead of lap, I'm going to put a checkbox in execute by name. So I'm going to execute a command by name. And I'm just going to basically paste show cam. So this command is going to be executed. And if you're wondering how does VoiceAttack know what show cam is, well, that's why we actually went into options and we included commands from another profile. And we'll only include the show cam command from the OBS profile because this profile knows that command exists in OBS. And so if I apply that, and if I you can actually, if you want to test things, you can just right click on any of the commands and then hit execute. And if I do that, and then you can see, I'll just click on done. You can see here, external command. It says that it's done that. It's launched that command in the OBS. And actually, let me just do that again. Go back there. Yeah, cool. Cool, yeah, it's actually done it. It's actually run the lap. See, it's come up here, lap timing. And it's also executed the OBS command, which you won't see it, but it's basically done that. That's pretty much the simple beginner's intro. The beginner's guide to create a command that can be executed with your voice as well as your button box. And here's the thing, right? You could... let me just go back to lap. You could actually... okay. Notice... Okay, this is very important, guys. Notice how it says here, hold down for 3 seconds. You don't want it to hold for 3 seconds. Make it 1 second. Or even... I would actually say 0.5 seconds. This is super important. That's funny. How you doing, Torque? I would strongly recommend... I made a mistake. I would recommend going back and making sure that your keyboard, your key presses, see how it says here, press and release a key. Make sure that it's not 3 seconds. Make sure it's like 0.5, which explains why those commands weren't working before. Oh, no worries, dude. All right, so 0.3. No, 0.5. Okay, now the commands will run quickly. Watch this. Go away, mosquito. Let's try that now. Lap. Relative. Standings. Lap. Relative. Standings. Oh yeah, man, that's why it wasn't working before, because it was pressing the button for 3 seconds and releasing it. You have to edit the pause after... You have to record... You have to edit the pauses after recording key. Correct, yeah. So that... Because it was holding down the key for too long. Which can be useful. Sometimes you might want the button to be held down for 3 seconds, like when you're exiting... When you want to exit the car in iRacing and go back to the pits, you want to press and hold down for, I don't know, 1.5 seconds, I think it is. So it registers that you want to hold that button down, the escape button, for 1.5 seconds. But be careful with that, because if you accidentally press that while you're driving in a race, it will hold down the button for 1.5 seconds, and as long as your car is stopped, it will tow you back to pits. And yeah, you don't want that. One way to get around that is you can actually do this, right? Let's say, for example, I create a new command and call it teleport to pits, okay? And so I don't want to say the word teleport to pits, so I'm going to untick this. Not doing that one, but... Oh yeah, okay, here's the thing. You can actually put a failsafe. You can untick the when I say, so this command will never be executed with my voice, but I can, when I press the button, I'm just going to press this button here, okay? I'm just going to press this button on my wheel, but I have to press this button. See how it says here, shortcut is invoked when long pressed. Shortcut is invoked when long pressed. All right, so this is good because you want this behavior. You want to I want this command teleport to pits to be invoked when I long press, and I think a long press is about 2 seconds. So you can't accidentally invoke this command. And when I do press this button for 1-2 seconds or whatever, I want to press escape. And I want to send the escape command key press to iRacing Simulator. And I could give it a category, call it menu. Or just call it menu. Okay. So let's actually test it. So I'm going to press and hold down. You know what? I'm going to just click it. All right, I'm in the car now. I'm pressing it. Nothing's happening. But if I press and hold it down, nothing happens. What the? tell it actually did register it, but why didn't it work? Oh, because I didn't. Let's actually change the time that it holds the escape button. Let's change it to 1.5. No, it's because it didn't press the escape and hold it for 1.5 seconds. It was 0.5 seconds. So now it will actually press and hold the key press for 1.5 seconds when I long press button joystick button 14. Yeah, you get it? Yeah. All right, let's try that now. All right, so I'm going to press and I'm just going to click it. See, nothing's happening. I'm going to press and hold it now. I'm going to long press it. The same button. There you go. See? So that prevents you from accidentally pressing, which is very important because you can still map that same button for a short click. So I could map that same button I just long pressed to start the car if I want. When I'm ready to race. Which is pretty cool because you can make the same button do two things. When I long press that same button, it escapes. When I short press it, it starts the car. Something like that. Or you could do this. I could duplicate this. I'll duplicate this one. All right. I'm going to rename it to Enter Car. Okay, so I'm going to untick this because I don't want this to be invoked with voice, only with a button. So I'm going to, because I've duplicated it, it's copied over the button from the teleport to pit command. I'm going to click on the ellipse here. I'm going to hit the reset and I'm going to click the same button. Okay, but this time I'm going to untick this because it saved the long press action. I'm going to untick the shortcut is invoked when long pressed. I'm going to untick it. So now it's going to handle it as an ordinary click. Okay. But what do I want to happen when I ordinary click it? I want to... So Shift R. I want to clear. I think it's Shift R. Shift R. And I don't want to hold it down for 1.5 seconds. I just want to press Shift R for half a second. And that's it. Okay, cool. So if you notice now, we have the enter car. Notice how there's joystick button 14 and joystick button 14, but one is a long press and one is a short press. I'm going to apply that. Now watch this. Boom. I'm gonna long press the same button. Boom. See, the same button but different behavior. It does a different thing. Different action for the same button creates a different behavior. I think that is actually amazing. Okay, cool. Now, what is so cool about this is you could go in and go to options, all right? And you could go into your controls. And once upon a time, I had mapped all the joystick buttons within iRacing itself. But these days, what I did was I reset the iRacing keybinds to default, to the whatever it was by default. And then, originally I had the ignition set to one of my buttons, and I had the starter to another button. But now I actually use VoiceAttack to send the I key press when I press the button here. And it's really awesome when you do that because you can do some interesting things later down the track with the thing I was telling you about, contextual commands. So, you can program VoiceAttack to say, if I'm in iRacing and I press this button, then I want the car to start. But if I'm in OBS and if I press the same button, then I want something else to happen. So you kind of have you could practically run your whole stream and games with maybe 3 or 4 buttons based on the context. But you can't do that if you map iRacing to a button. You kind of lose that functionality. Obviously, you need to map your paddle shifts and gear shifts and stuff natively. You know, that's important. But yeah, you can do so much, man. You can do so much. Yeah, that's... I hope that explanation has helped you get unstuck with what you're trying to do. I mean, there are... When you feel like... I'll show you some of my bloody commands, man. Like, I'll go to my iRacing one. So my enter car command, it does this. So now notice that in my enter car command, it does a couple of things. It says, first of all, begin a Boolean compare. What it's doing is it's saying, check to see if this variable that I've just defined, called in-car, if that equals false. So if the in-car variable is false, then it will execute the Shift R. Why I've done that is because I don't want to enter the car when I'm already in the car. If you know what I mean? The only time I want this command to execute is if I'm in the menu. If I'm in the menu and if I press this button, then I want to enter the car. But if I'm already in the car, then if I press the same button, I don't want to execute the same command. It's a waste of CPU cycles, right? So that's the kind of stuff maybe I can show you guys next time. I think it's important for you, Quaker, especially. I'm doing this for you specifically. Is that once you start doing all your things, you'll start to ask other questions and say, "Hey, I've done all these things," and you'll start to feel like things are really buggy. And tell me what those bugs are, and I'll show you how to tweak your command so it's like even more tight. But you kind of have to get to that point. If I show you this now, it might be irrelevant. Like, it may not make sense. Okay, I love this kind of stuff, man. I mean, I do this kind of stuff as a professional, like workflow automation and systemization. So this and this kind of stuff I can do in my sleep. So yeah, I hope. I think you've gotten some value out of that. So play with that. Hit me up in my Discord if you have questions, because this is like the stepping stone, man. Once you start doing this kind of stuff, it opens up to next level stuff you can do. This thing is like a freaking. You could basically create a program, like almost like an AI, without. It's not the same thing, but you could basically run your. This is how I run my stream, man. I control my volume, my music. I control my audio levels. I control the scenes in OBS. I can even show and hide like individual cams. Individual sources within OBS. Like, it's crazy. I think there was something I wanted to mention. There's something else about OBS, which is typically what you do is you go to your OBS settings, you go to hotkeys, all right, and then you have all your hotkeys keybound, and then you'd use your VoiceAttack to press the key to OBS. But there's a cool little app that lets you control OBS with commands, with DOS, like this thing. I can run control. Okay. I can basically tell OBS to hide or show sources by typing in a command. You know what? Let me show you. This is trippy. Let me actually go to my OBS but you can't. You have to actually install something in order to do that. Let me just do hide scene, hide source. Okay, I'm gonna copy this command. Where's the... Okay, I'm gonna copy that, paste it. I'm gonna copy this guy. Alright, so this command here, the command is like it's called OBS command. Go do a search in Google for OBS command. It's an executable that you install in your OBS, somewhere in your OBS. And you have to set it up a little bit, but there's a couple of decent YouTube videos on how to set up OBS command. obscommand.exe. And so if I run this command / can you see that? Oh, sorry. So OBS command / server blah 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 hide source. Now I'm going to hide the source called face. So there's a bit of a format on how to do this. So desktop full. So how you run this command is the source / the scene / the source name. Okay, I'm going to highlight that, copy it just in case. Now, as soon as I execute this, it should hide my cam. There, it's gone. Now, I'm going to bring up that command. I'm going to bring up that cam again with the command, but this time, instead of hide source, I'm going to say show source. Show source, okay, and I'm going to press enter. See, it came back. So it's actually running a command in the command line, in Windows command line, and it's an API, it's an interface to OBS. You can do things like showing, and that's how I'm able to change the scenes, hide various sources and all that kind of stuff. It's super, super useful. I feel like it's when you start to do... Here's the thing. If you only have to... If you only have 3 scenes and you'll never ever hide sources, then you're probably better off just forgetting about this method, the OBS command method, and just send a key stroke to OBS. But if you're going to chain a whole bunch of things, you know, change the scene plus hide this source and show that and whatever, because this is like having your own production manager, like, you know, as if you have a crew who are controlling an insane level of granularity with how you produce your stream, basically. So yeah, that's a kind of an advanced way of showing and hiding things, sources and scenes in OBS. It's pretty cool. So yeah, I'm gonna leave it. That could be a bit of a mind blow, but yeah. Another useful command I recommend actually having before I go is create a global profile. Create a global profile. So go to this button here, click on create a new profile, and click on new profile. No, Buja, yeah, thanks, man. I will check out my Discord. Cheers, dude. That the new mod. Okay, create a new global profile, and in this global profile, you want to create a bunch of commands that will change profiles when you give the word. So notice here, for example, I've got a profile that says iRacing profile. So when I say iRacing profile, it will switch to the iRacing profile. Super handy. It's so handy, this command. And then if I say OBS profile, for example, if I say the words OBS profile, then it will switch to the OBS profile. It basically VoiceAttack will just switch profiles. So it's really useful when it comes to programming your different commands, and if they happen to be spread across two or three or four different profiles. Instead of using your mouse and, it's a lot of clicks, it can get very tedious. This way, I can basically say iRacing profile, Windows profile, OBS profile, OBS profile, OBS profile. Because OBS, I should have put O space B space. Anyway, you get the picture, right? But in order for that to be, in order for the global profiles to be recognized in your other profiles, you have to make sure that you. Let me just go back to the iRacing. Okay, remember we created this brand new profile called iRacing binds. Make sure that you go to options, go to. Go to include commands from another profile. Click on that. Press the plus button. From the drop down, make sure you select the global. And so now the global profile voice commands exist in this. So it's a good idea to add this to all your profiles that you want to quickly switch with your voice. And that's pretty much it. That's a kind of a useful tip. There's so much you can do with this, man. It's once you start understanding how this works, there's a shitload. I could keep going on and on about this, but I have to go. You might get burnt out. There's a lot. I think it's a better idea for you to start playing with it, and then when you start, you'll have more questions. Hit me up, and I'll do another one of these things. All right. So now I'm going to roll credits. That's another compound profile. Cool, man. We'll catch you next time, Quaker and Buja. Thanks for hanging about. Anyone else who is lurking, thanks for hanging about as well. I'm basically going to... Actually, you know what? While I'm here, I actually copy. And paste him here. Yeah. That's it. All right. I'm out of here. And also, I have a command to OBS profile. All right, see ya. Stop streaming.